So renting to own is got pros and cons. It's gotten some slander over the years, some slang. The main reason I want to talk about it this week is the government just announced that they're going to be moving forward with a rent-to-own program. So let me just break down really quick what a rent-to-own is, and then I kind of want to talk about the government, their plan with it. So renting to own essentially is you rent a property for an agreed upon time. So say you're going to rent it for 5 years, and once that 5 years is up, you then have the option to purchase the property. Now, what price do you purchase it at? So when you sign that agreement up front, you decide what the price is going to be in 5 years. So landlord and the tenant would negotiate, say, okay, it's worth $600 today. Let's say the market goes up, 3 to 5% a year, and in 5 years you're going to pay $750 for it. So okay, at the end of 5 years, I can pay $750 for this property. However, generally what you do is you pay a higher than normal market rent. So say market rent is $2,000, you would pay something like $2,500. $500 of that would go into a separate account that would then start to build as a down payment for when you purchase the home in 5 years. So this is a pro. If I guess we'll talk about the pros and cons later, but this can also be why it's considered, a con, or sometimes people say rent to own is a scam, is because you could be paying this extra $500 a month for 2-3 years. You don't quite make the 5 years. Something happens, you can't rent there anymore, you got to leave or whatever. You don't get that additional $500 a month back that you were spending. So that's something to watch out for. But that's basically the function of a rent to own, is to have a renter eventually pay a certain amount of money with the intention at the end of 5 years that they're going to purchase the property and own it. There's a lot that goes into this. So the government, in all their wisdom, wants to now release this plan where they're going to introduce rent to owns, but they're not going to be providing the properties. So in the announcement they made, I have it in front of me, that's what I'm looking at there. The landlord must commit to charging a renter lower than market rent. So their strategy is to, obviously, they want to have the landlords charge less so the tenants can put more money away each month to go towards their down payment, I guess, to save for a down payment. The biggest issue I see with this is landlords agreeing to take below market rent. Like if you could get $2,000, why would you rent it for $1,500 other than you want to do it out of the kindness of your own heart? So I kind of see that being a hurdle. Maybe some landlords would be thrilled about that, but I don't really see who would be. Number two, the landlord must commit to ownership in a 5-year term or less. This is pretty standard for a rent to own. Most rent to owns are 5 years. I've heard of some that are 3 years, but 3 to 5 years is generally that window. And then number three, they want to put safeguards in place to protect the future home buyer. So I wonder if that has something to do with, as I mentioned previously, if you need to back out of the deal, you're kind of at the mercy of the landlord. Maybe they're going to put some safeguard to protect you that, okay, if you've put additional funds, you can reclaim those. But it doesn't sound like you're giving additional funds to the landlord. It actually sounds like you're paying the landlord less. And then there's lots of gray area here. Like they don't talk about who determines what the final buyout price is, or the safeguards, that sort of stuff. So it's just right now, I guess, a concept that they said they're going to move forward with, but not a lot has been announced with it. But if you guys have more questions about a rent to own, let me know. I think I talked about the structure pretty well with that. Yeah, if you have any questions, drop a comment below. Let me know. Hit that Calendly link, book a call. We'll talk more about it.